Hi guys, so Mike from VizAcademy here. It looks like the camera is framing again, so I'm just going to quickly try to restart our program. 1 minute. Okay, so hi guys, Mike from VizAcademy here. It's great to see you again, and sorry for the delay, we had some technical issues, but right now we're ready to go. So today we're going to talk a little bit about material creation, light setup, and how to actually use many of Corona Renderer provided libraries, and how to use it to your advantage to not waste any time on unnecessary stuff. So I'm just going to quickly go through our let's say schedule for today, and as you can see, we're shortly going to answer a few of your questions. So first of all, can you all guys see me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? So anyway, where are you from, guys? Because we often like to know who's tuning in and what kind of audience we actually catch. So if you can, please write down where you're from. Okay guys, so quickly I'll tell you who are we actually. So we're VizAcademy, where we are a school founded more than a year ago. We actually had approximately 250 students already, and as you can see, this is our Instagram. So guys, if you could go to VizAcademy UK and follow us there, you can see that each of those images that is displayed on the screen is actually made by our students. We only add those to our gallery because we're very proud of those guys. Like more than 50% of our students actually start with zero knowledge of 3D. So guys, it's really a good idea to actually join our class. More information, if you want more information about our course, please leave your email or email us at VizAcademy.uk @gmail.com. Okay, so back to our schedule. So first of all, we're going to create this bedroom that I'm going to show you right now. So you've probably seen it already on our event on Facebook or somewhere else. Basically, we're just going to go through material creation here and how to set up the light. Also, I'm going to show you how to properly create a white render that is necessary for most of the shots that you're going to create. And without further ado, let's just jump in and start creating something. So this is the scene. We're going to today we're skipping the modeling because we're not going to focus on it, but we're going to actually focus on rendering. So I need to clean up this scene from any lights, and I'm actually going to reset my settings. So we start from the scratch. Okay, great. And also I'm going to delete some of those lights that I previously added. Okay, great. So I believe we have it all. Oh, Scotland, hi. Okay, guys, so tell me, do you have any experience with 3D already? Because I'm not sure how deep should I go into material creation and what stuff I should skip. But as you can see, first thing that you need to know is that when working with 3ds Max, you're going to have to create many light sources at any time in all your scenes. So it's going to require some kind of, let's say, workflow that will be consistent. So the most important thing is to actually add your main light source. So right now I'm going to go to render setup, that is right here, F10 if you want to use shortcuts, and go to the scene tab right here and select the environment used by Corona. Right now it added this white light behind our window, so it's going to be well, not enough. So we're going to actually create some lighting system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a map that is going to be Corona Sky. And the effect can be seen already. It's a really strong light source that we're going to use and focus in this video today. Also, I'm going to show you how to create Corona Sun and what's the difference between size and intensity. So I'm going to skip to other window. Okay, so from the image I shown you in the beginning, you can see that there's some strong light source coming from this area because we have this hard shadows here. So this is probably sun, and that's why I created this sun outside. You can also create it inside of your house, but it doesn't matter actually. I just like to keep it outside because pretty much that's where sun should be. Okay, so right now I'm going to go back to our rendering. Wait a sec. There are many ways to access the interactive renderer. You can access it here, or you can use the frame buffer and use it from this place. So if you want to turn it on, just do it like this. So right now you can see that this sun is quite intense and we've actually have materials. So I'm going to turn them off in a sec. This is because I've resetted the scene. So we're going to actually create our white render. We're going to add Corona material. And also we're going to focus on creating our materials from scratch. So I'm just quickly going to clean this up. Okay, so guys, tell me, did you ever use 3ds Max, SketchUp, or Cinema? What kind of software are you going through in your class, or what actually brought you here? Okay, so right now this is going to be our override material, so I'm going to quickly name it OB. So it's going to be obvious for us that this is the material. I'm going to increase the diffuse level to a little bit higher than previously. I mean, 180 should be enough, but we're just going to eyeball it to make it fast. So when we actually turn on our preview now, it's going to look bad. Okay, SketchUp user. So I'm pretty sure you won't be able to create most of our visuals, like most of the visuals we're showing in SketchUp, but there are some really talented people. From what I know, SketchUp is really good for modeling, but it still lacks a lot when it comes to rendering. So right now we're going to create this white render, and this is the main. This is going to be our main focus today. I can see that at this moment, well, this doesn't look good. Our sun is really too bright. There's too much white dots around our render. I don't know if you can see those fireflies, but we're going to reduce a little bit. We're going to reduce their count. So first of all, this is not the reduction element, but moving to sun, I'm just quickly going to decrease its power because we don't need this atomic bomb behind our window. So I'm going to decrease the amount of intensity to 0.1 because this is the amount I'm aiming at. And at this moment, I'm going to show you what's the difference between size 1 and 10 when it comes to light source. So you can see those shadows here, they're pretty easy to read. You can see the details coming from our curtains and whatnot. At this moment, they are distinguishable, and you can see this bed's edge here. So when we create let's say a sun-sized 15, you can see that this shadow, it got blurry and it's lost its detail. And this is actually the effect we're going for, because let's say we want to have this let's say cloudy or more like a dusk scenario, so we're going to stick to that. Also, I'm going to add a direct input instead of realistic, because this time we're going to use light mix in the end, so we're going to focus on that. Right now, okay, it looks pretty alright, but we still need to add those LEDs here. Also, to actually make it look like this, we need materials and those lamps. Okay, so basically to add a lamp light, it's going to be easy because you just need to go to creation panel, Corona, and select Corona light. It's really that easy. And right now, by default, you are going to create a sphere. Also, remember that it's going to be a light bulb, so don't go crazy with the size. We're just going to make it approximately 2 centimeters, radius of 3 centimeters. Okay, so I'm going to copy it as an instance to our other lamp. Don't worry about aiming exactly to the position where the light bulb should be. When you have some imperfections, it's going to actually work for your benefit, because it's going to make your visuals more believable. Also, are you ever going to use V-Ray? Actually, not in our class, because we figured that Corona is the fastest and most intuitive program on the market at the moment. Even though they come from pretty much the same company, because right now V-Ray and Corona are both from Chaos Group. So we're just going to focus on Corona because, well, we find it a little bit easier for our students to understand, and also the effects are really fast to achieve. So considering that, we're going to focus on Corona in this class. Okay, guys, again, I can see that there's more of us. So where are you from? Newcomers? Oh my God, there's a lot of experienced people here. Great. Okay, so no problem. Z Retro. Okay, continuing. Right now I created those two spheres, and I'm going to create those LED lights. So this is going to be a tricky type of light to actually add to your scene. Let me turn this off. because when you want to create a LED light like that, you should probably make it in some kind of place that it's not going to be visible for the naked eye, because well, nobody likes to see those light sources. Mostly architects really want to avoid it. So I'm just going to go for the most basic way how to create this kind of light, and it's going to be shape with rendering and enabling viewport on. So you can see that it's already here. I'm going to reduce the size to 0.9 to actually suit my needs, and I'm going to quickly place it exactly where I want it. Okay, so at this moment, as you can see, this is not a LED light. Now it is, because I named it. So I'm quickly going to copy this object as an instance in case I'm going to edit something out. Okay, so we got it here. And right now, since we want to have this great effect, as you can see in our preview, I'm going to quickly add, let's say, first Corona light materials. So remember, when working in 3ds Max, try to have as much as try to have your materials and objects sorted. So use layers, and also when working with materials, try to group them into some kind of logical connection, like, okay, what was that? Okay, I'm going to create light sources here, and all the maps that are going to be connected to lights are going to be actually added here. So what's the difference between Corona light and Corona material that is self-illuminated? Basically, when you self-illuminate your object like this, it's basically going to work pretty much the same, but the difference is that self-illumination doesn't take part in light calculation that much as Corona light. It's somehow they disabled it because they figured that this is not a light source, and that's why it's going to render really fast, but it cannot be used as a light source to actually lit your scene. Otherwise, it would really make a lot of, if you try to set up your material, Corona material to actually lit your scene, you're going to get a lot of fireflies, so try to avoid that. You can have pretty much the same effect if you click the emit light here. If you disable it, it's going to work the same as self-illuminated material in Corona. So okay, some of you may want to have extra control over the texture of our light and have this solid color or temperature. At this moment, Corona light doesn't have the temperature by default, even though the Corona lights have it. I don't know why they decided to do it, but there's a quick workaround. We can just add Corona color and go here and use the Kelvin temperature. Okay, I'm going to set it to 350. So we can have this nice effect. And also, since we're using overwrite material, I'm going to add this two objects into our exclusion list. So as you can see, we've got curtains and LEDs. Okay, let's quickly preview what we have. Okay, quick look in the chat. So guys, tell me, are you already working or are you students? Because I know that most of you are from London and UK generally. So tell me, what is actually your profession at this moment? Okay, and as you can see, our light really worked well, and we're going to now quickly set up the color of our lamps. So if you go here in the left-hand corner, you can pick what kind of objects you want to select at this moment. So if you don't want to select any geometry, you just want to skip directly to your light sources, like so, you just need to select lights, and you can quickly select your lights. Okay, I'm going to set this light source, let's say 390. Okay, I like it. And also I'm going to add a little bit of highlight, so highlight compression, so it actually we actually don't have our lights burned out. So this is 1, this is 15, and you can also see that we've got some detail now. Okay, so this is the basic light setup for our scene. We need to add a little bit oomph to it later, but this is I'm pretty happy with the base that we have right now, so we're going to skip to material creation. So as I told you, we're going to abuse this Corona material library. It's a great source for your knowledge. We're just going to show you how to use it. When opening it, you're going to be welcomed by this hair type of material, so we're not going to use it today. Maybe in some kind of tutorial we're going to show you how to create furry carpets or some animal skin, so maybe we're going to use it, but at this moment we're going to quickly jump to our fabrics when the autosave is done. Okay, so where's the fabric? Okay, so as you can see, Corona actually provides us with a quite big library. They're trying to expand it right now. They are actually hiring people to do it at this very moment. So we're just going to actually focus on our bed right now. So I'm going to ungroup this object, and since most of these objects are going to be pretty similar, I mean the material setup, I'm just going to show you how I set up this particular one and how to change the color, how to use this actually quite big library. So I picked this fabric cotton, so I'm going to rename it to bed, so we can actually see what kind of object we're going to add this material to. Okay, so I just did it, and I added this material. Basically, it's plug and play solution where you don't really have to care too much about your setting up most of the junk that otherwise would take you a lot of time, because Corona has a lot of those plug and play solutions that you can use for your own. And guys, remember that you can also visit our Instagram and main page, also our Facebook at any time to see more of the images that our students created. Also, if you want to know a little bit more about our class, don't hesitate and just ask or send us your email. Okay, so we're going to aim for kind of pinkish color, so I'm going to actually look for it around here. I mean around the oranges, so I'm quickly going to adjust it. So let's see the effect. Okay, it's a little bit too let's say okay, that's not the color I was aiming for. Okay, so basically what I want to show you right now is that this is how easy it is to actually set up those colors when you actually know what you're aiming for. So I'm just going to quickly inspect this color here that we created. So it's pretty much reddish, pinkish. So you can see those RGB numbers, and now I'm going to recreate them in my scene to match those colors a little bit better. Okay, so this is basically going to be it. And also I'm going to decrease the highlight a little bit because I don't want it to be too bright. Okay, so this is how I would approach this kind of material, just to quickly create a sketch. Okay, and now we're going to focus on this wall object. So what is important for you to know is when you're setting up your scene, you're probably going to create your mesh really. You're going to create your mesh really basically from scratch. It's going to probably look similar to mine. Just make sure that your object doesn't have any holes in it, so light doesn't go through it. And also from my experience, I know that Corona is very thickness sensitive, so if you want your render to go a little bit faster, shell your walls to make sure that they render properly. It's probably because some normal maps working in the background. So make sure that even if you create your interior from the method I showed you here, from a basic cube with 2 holes, make sure that you shell it later to speed up your render. So we're going back to actually material creation, and I'm going to show you a nice easy trick when using 3ds Max. So back to our Corona materials. Wait a sec, autosave. Yeah, so autosave can really save your life. So remember, you should have it on at any time, but most of the professionals I know, they turn it off. I don't understand that idea, because autosave really saved my life lots of times. So again, I'm going to create this tab for wall materials. And for that, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to pick the white matte wall. That is actually part of the library. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. We're not using any magical tricks that would actually make your head explode. We're just using the basics at this moment. If you want to have some in-depth knowledge, we're going to go through each of those materials and all of those elements of your material creation. What is translucency? How does refraction work? We cover it all during our class. Right now, we're just going to use the basic Corona materials to actually set up this nice looking scene. So Corona wall paint comes with Corona 3 Planner, so you don't really have to care about your UV mapping, but we're going to use 2 materials here, so we're actually going to care about that. Okay, so a nice trick is when you select your object's elements and you actually add another material when you previously added some kind of other map, you can also, while having this element selected in your stock under your sub-object levels, you can quickly add any kind of material as a secondary material, and this is how it should work. Okay, so I added it right now. So when you now pick the material from your object, it should create another sub-object material, but as this is a live stream, it didn't work. So thank you 3ds Max for that. Okay, so basically, since it didn't, I'm going to go through this normal method. and I'm just going to quickly add this multi-map material. And this is how we approach multi-map materials. You need to set your IDs on your mesh to actually tell 3ds Max what kind of polygons you want your materials to actually cover. So since that is done, I'm going to exclude this object from our stock and quickly preview what we have. So basically, it's starting to look more like our reference image. So we're getting closer. Okay, so right now, again, I'm checking out the material creation. Okay, just making sure that all those IDs are correct. Okay, this is material ID 2, and this is material ID 1. Okay, going back, and we have actually, yeah, it looks fine. No, it doesn't. Okay, I know. Yeah, we still need to assign our material to our object. Okay, so that's a mistake on my part. Again, as you can see, it already changes color. So, okay, we fixed it. Okay, moving on. We're going to add materials to our curtains. Also, this is pretty basic because, again, we're going to use the materials that are provided by Corona Renderer. Those are untouched. We didn't change anything to achieve our final effect. So I'm just going to assign to selected objects. And again, I'm going to assign this material, the heavy curtain, to this object, but this time I'm going to change the color because I want it a little bit lighter. So to better suit our bed, it's going to be a little bit more brighter. Okay, now I'm going to exclude this larger curtain from our material override. Okay, and again, we're going to quickly see what effect we already have. Okay, I think this scene looks really dull when we don't have any kind of floor object at this moment. So it's going to actually change a lot of our perspective on this image when we actually create some kind of floor. So guys, can you still hear me? Because I can see that there's some commotion going on. Okay, so I'm going to create this floor material, and to do it I'm going to show you how to use Corona Multimap. And for our next material, we're going to actually change some things in basic wood that is provided by Corona. Okay, so anyway, more in-depth look into material creation will be discussed during our class. So I'm going to use this honey floor as our base, but I don't really like this texture because it doesn't suit my needs. So I'm going to quickly change this to Corona Multimap. Okay, thank you, Koskan. I'm going to discard this texture right now, and I'm going to delete this normal map because all we need right now is those settings here. Those aren't really that fancy, but I figured this is going to actually allow most of the starting users to use what is actually already provided to create exactly what they want to achieve. So also I'm going to use this map as a bump, but to reduce the render time, I'm going to reduce the bump amount to 0.1. Okay, so again, we're excluding this object from our material override. And I should probably add this material to our floor. Okay, wait a sec. Next autosave. Those are really life-saving, so I'm not going to bother and turn it off, because last time we had a little bit of critical errors in our 3ds Max, so I don't want to start over, because, you know, guys, we value your time. During our class, this type of things happen, so you know, you need to be prepared for any kind of crash or unpredictable situation in 3ds Max, and that's why we provide you 24/7 support. And when working on your finals and you just need to make it for tomorrow, we're going to help you out and actually stay with you and, you know, support you since you are a student. Anyway, I'm now going to add a carpet material. So again, this is basically adding a material to your carpet will actually require adding a UVW map and set it to box and select the real world to make it work properly. So right now I'm going back to our material creation, material library, and I'm going to select this rug right here, and I'm going to assign to selected objects. So I selected this rug earlier, and right now it's going to actually add this material, and it's here. So basically, since most of those elements of bed were created in a similar way, also our lamp materials are pretty much this is the element of our corona. This is one of the material as called lampshade. So group open recursively. Okay, and all right, so this is the lampshade, and it uses the lampshade, cotton lampshade material. Okay, and here we've got this stone element. Also, we've got Corona has you covered. Just add a UVW map, set it to real world, and you can use any kind of stone that you like from this library. We used black marble because we figured it looks nice. Basically, you get the idea. So what exactly is going to be interesting in material creation right now is this element. So we could use any kind of wood that is provided by Corona, and we're actually going to do it, but with a little bit of twist. So this is actually going to be one of those things that you should probably know before you start creating your own scenes, because adding some randomization to your scene is going to benefit you really greatly, and it's going to be let's say beneficial for you and your client, because right now I'm going to use this map. It's honey oak, so it's going to be matte, and I guess it's going to work. Okay, so right now I'm going to add a little bit of extra elements to it. So first thing I want to add is this change material map type, and I'm going to add Corona UVW randomizer. So this is going to be a really helpful tool for you, because it allows you to add one UVW map modifier to all of your objects. You just need to set it up to mesh element, and when you do it, you just type in the size of your texture or how much tiles you want it to move, and I'm going to make it move 300 centimeters. So How does it work? When you have your object with only, let's say, a ton of objects, with only one map, it's going to make this wood look really weird, because it's going to make it look like you just stretched out some textures, and this is really this can be observed pretty often when when we're working with our students. So right now, as you can see, I'm just adding this map, so you can see it in a display. So this is how it looks, and it looks very artificial. So when using your UVW map randomizer, it's going to allow you for this extra touch of fresh air that is randomization. Also, to further randomize our map, even though we're using only one texture, we're going to add a Corona multi-map, and I'm going to reduce the number of maps to 1, and I'm going to only randomize this gamma. So I'm going to actually set it to 1 at this moment, because I don't want to show you this effect yet. Okay, so we've got it this mapped. Okay, let's add this. Okay, so basically I'm going to turn on the render again. So interactive render, please come in. Yeah, again, autosave. So it's been like 20 minutes already with 5 or 6 autosave that actually slow us down. I'm starting to understand why those guys turn it off. Okay, so right now you can see that this map is pretty randomized with when it comes to texture, but I'm going to actually further randomize it, and I'm going to add that randomize from multi-texture. Okay, so right here I'm going to add 5% into gamma to make this effect a little bit ridiculous. And as you can see, we already have really different wood around here, so it looks totally different at this moment. And I'm going to reduce it to 0.5 to have this effect a little bit more subtle. Also, you could probably add some kind of smoothing or chamfering to those objects here. As you can see, they look really blocky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my lazy way, and I'm going to add corona round edges. I'm just going to set it to 2 millimeters and add this as additional bump, and also connect it here. So the difference is that right now our edges are now, without changing anything in our mesh, they are smoothed out. So let Corona think about it a little bit. So they should be a little bit smoother. We will see it in the final render. So, and that's where we're going to focus on it. So right now I'm going to disable this pan zoom. Okay, disable all. So this zoom in may occur to you when working with 2D pan zoom. You're going and using region. When the region is too small or it cannot be read by your video frame buffer, all you need to do is disable all, and your frame is going to go back to the previous state. So please try to remember it, because sometimes people just don't know what to do. Okay, so right now we basically went through most of the materials we wanted to create. At this moment I can see that this is too bright. I'm going to quickly fix it. All right. So guys, tell me, can you actually keep up? Do you understand what I'm saying? Is everything all right? Because I'm trying to make sure that you're able to actually grab as much knowledge as it is possible. So okay, so as you can see, most of those objects we created are using pretty basic materials. There's no extra magic into it, but if you want to create those materials and scenes really fast, you can use this method. And at this moment, I'm just going to disable this material override, and we're actually going to jump into what's the most important, is actually tone mapping and light mixing. So I'm going to quickly add all our lights into our stock by adding this from here, setup light mix, generate, and now we're going to have this option to use light mix, and it's going to be very useful for us because this is one of Corona was one of the first render engines to actually implement this option into its source. So I really love it, the way they done it, because it's a huge lifesaver. It allows you to create a lot of sceneries. Guys, last time when we were streaming, somebody suggested that we should create a Corona, VizAcademy group on Facebook, so you can actually join, ask questions, and see next events. And we did that. If you want to get invited into our private little club, please like our fun page on Facebook. You're going to be invited into our little guest house in just a few minutes after the stream, so you'll be able to actually ask questions, get some more information about material creation. Also, we're going to post links to our new videos that are going to appear on our YouTube channel. I guess you can follow us there also, because it's going to be very useful for you. Okay, Alice, we can all, so if you have any extra questions about the scene creation, tell me what questions you may have. I'm going to answer them live right now. So all those details that I'm skipping are going to be further discussed during our class. So if you want to know more, please visit our webpage and see when our next class starts. Actually, it's on 30th of March, so you can join us there at any time. I would strongly suggest you check it out. So what's cool about light mix is that you can change the color of your lights in real time. So when you want to create, let's say, other mood in your interior, you can approach it. But there's a lot of techniques that need to be addressed before you enter the light mix and creation of different, let's say, sceneries, like, daylight, night light, and it's going to require a lot of knowledge before you approach it. Why? Because you don't want your renderings go through the roof. What I mean is adding light mix greatly increases your render time, and increasing that, it's going to actually cost you a lot of time, and time is money. So when your client is waiting for your project, you just need to save as much time as you can. We discussed many ways how to further save time on your work during our class, of course. Yes, you can watch them on our YouTube channel right now. You can watch 3 of our streams. We created a bunch of videos that we're going to post in just a few days or weeks, depending on how we actually approach the streaming process. And next time in the next stream, we're going to create something special for you. So basically, guys, while I was blabbing about all this stuff, I created this fast setup for bloom and glare. So basically, bloom and glare, I think that's self-explanatory. This effect adds those blooms around your light sources, so it makes your renders a little bit more, let's say, real life alike, so photorealistic it would be. Also, I desaturated our scene a little bit to better suit my needs. Also, this this image still requires a lot of post-production, and that is one of the things we're approaching in our class. Or also we would need to enter Photoshop or any other program like that. So right now I'm going to quickly add a LUT and decrease the value. So I'm going to pick the one I've previously seen. Okay, so this is the one. And how to pick LUTs, I'm going to show you exactly what LUTs you should use at what scenarios, what LUTs really are, and how much do they impact your work. So right now I'm going to quickly go ahead and circle through them so you can see what kind of different effects you can and moods you can achieve just circling through them. So I'm going to decrease this, and as you can see, this is basically going to change your render 180 degrees. So let's go back to the one I picked. Okay, so basically, guys, if you have any extra questions, please shoot now, because this is the exact moment you should be asking those. Have you used AutoCAD before rendering, or have you made all the elements in 3ds Max? Basically, most of those elements were modeled by me. Of course, you can buy some of the models online, and that's what I did with the bed. During our class, we actually show you how to approach this kind of models. Since this is a stream created for you, I figured that we should actually use the materials that are easily available for you. So if you want to actually recreate this scene on your own, you're going to be able to. So basically, I guess we basically did all the stuff I planned to do. So right now, please shoot more questions. And right now, I would like to tell you a little bit more about the VizAcademy. So we are online school. We teach 3ds Max and how to render using Corona Renderer. We teach from zero. So if you have no prior knowledge of 3D or any kind of 3D software, you're going to be able to learn it from the start. All those images you can see on our Instagram are made by our students. We're really proud of them because as you can see, like 50 or more than 50% of our students actually started with zero knowledge of 3ds Max and 3D rendering. So basically, as you can see, they really created those impressive images. Okay, again, we provide you with videos. We meet 3 times a week for webinars, pretty similar to this one, but we actually go through your questions, your problems, and your homework. Also, we provide you with 24/7 support, so at any given time you can actually be sure that we'll help you out, because you have your own life and we actually don't, so we support you 24/7. Basically, please visit our main page, VizAcademy, where you can leave your number, also leave your email so we can further contact you. Only during March we've got this special offer for our students, so we've got this discount. It's the price is displayed right now on the screen. As you can see, this three guys are our founders and also myself. Basically we've already, as I told you, we had more than 200 students, and actually some of them are already working. We thanks to our class, they won many awards. Well, 6 is actually pretty good, I guess. As you can see, all those images also on our main page are going to be are going to belong only to our students. So is there a way I can import a Revit or SketchUp model to 3ds Max? Of course there is. You're going to lose some material data, but the IDs are going to stay. So as long as your SketchUp or Revit model is done properly, it's going to be really easy and straightforward, because since SketchUp is really software that most of the students use these days, importing any kind of model from SketchUp is really easy, as long as you save it 4 versions back into your SKP file, because 3ds Max doesn't read those current versions of SketchUp. It requires 4 downgrades. So when you're saving your file, just go save as and select one of those previous versions. So yeah, it's possible, but when it comes to Revit, there's no problem. It just imports. And could I edit materials of models using Corona materials? Yes, of course. Yes. Also, yes. Again. So guys, do you have any more questions? Because I can model something out for you. I can inspect the models. I can show you each material, how it was created, and also show you some basics. Or we can just play around with this light mix. Anyway, if you want to get this scene, exactly this shot that we rendered at this moment, I'm going to save it right now. Please like us on our Facebook fan page. Also, we're going to create another stream in just a few days. So this is going to probably be final stream before our class starts, because we need to focus on creating the materials for you. Most of those are already made, but we still want to go through them once more to make sure that everything is top notch. So guys, if you want to get this scene, like us on Facebook, invite your friends, and send us a proof that you've invited your friends to like us. And basically, we're going to send you exactly this scene so you can inspect it on your own. So you can go through each of those materials, each of those models, or also use it for your own design. You know, it's free for all as long as you invite your friends. So I hope that you liked our stream. As I said, we're going to create another one in just a few days, but since it's going to be we're aiming for something special, it's probably going to be in a week. So stay tuned. We're going to post the event page in just a few minutes after the stream is done. So thank you for your attention, and since the camera is framing and I look ridiculous, I'm going to quickly skip to the end. So thank you for your attention and have a nice day.